that you're running the show, you're calling the defense. Biggest change for you?
Not trying to put everything around the linebackers and not make the linebackers the priority in everything I do. It's one of the first things Dan said. It's kind of funny. He's like, I might not even give you any linebackers to look at because I know you're going to spend all your time. So just having that, and everybody from Solomon in the media, just having that open mindset, the more bigger landscape picture, the bigger picture. It's not just about my 3 or 4 guys on the field. It's about how does this now impact Aleem McNeil? How does this impact a guy like Terrion Arnold? How does this impact Kirby Joseph? Every time I'm thinking about something now, it now has to encompass all 11. So that's something I've expanded my mind to. And just having, again, my support system, though. A guy like Casey Rogers walking in the door, like, Shep's the guy, I'm coming. Like, whoa. Like, that's how he felt about me. Now, he seen me as a player down in Miami in 2014, but from the coaching realm, he didn't know really. And just having the belief in him, he's called defenses before for Ty Bowles. So having that experience, that knowledge, Deshae Townsend up for multiple jobs this year as far as a coordinator, having him back and excited, Jim O'Neil being a coordinator in this league for 3 years, and who, might I add, had opportunities elsewhere, sticking around and sticking with me. Like, that's the type of stuff I work for, is guys who's willing to pour into me. I got to make sure that I fill their cup as well.
That is one of the biggest pieces for me, talking about Calvin Shepard becoming the defensive coordinator of this team, first-time defensive coordinator, one of the youngest defensive coordinators in the league at 37 years old, was just recently playing in the league for the Detroit Lions, 6 years ago. And now he steps in as a former linebacker coach. He's working with the outside linebackers, then linebackers, now defensive coordinator. I'm not nervous, one. I just think anybody that's taken over a position like that in the National Football League at 37 years old is a whiz kid. You're on the right path. You're doing things the right way. But the names he mentioned, obviously we were very vocal about Casey Rogers when we got the defensive line hire because he was a former defensive coordinator with the Jets. And it was a respectable defense for a few years. I believe he was defensive coordinator for, 5 years? Mm-hmm. And then obviously won a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers as defensive line coach. Had a plethora of different type of body types and everything that made him work. Always had a good run defense. I always had that as the shining piece in that locker room alongside Calvin Shepard. But I forgot about Jim McNeil, who was the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. I forgot that our guy Deshae Townsend took multiple interviews to become a defensive coordinator elsewhere. Probably could have taken a job.
Yep.
Calvin Shepard could have taken jobs everywhere else too. This is huge for me because the way Calvin's coming up is under Dan Campbell, who is open to input for the betterment of the team from everybody. When Dan Campbell was calling plays, he was calling plays, but it was really Ben Johnson behind him drawing those things up. Yeah. But he took that input, and obviously the offense worked because of it. Calvin Shepard has a support system behind him that I truly believe will be a dog-ass defensive coordinator because I like the guys he has around him.
Yeah, I do too. And you look at what Calvin Shepard has done since he's become a coach in the NFL, and it's nothing but a meteoric rise. And he talks about Dan Campbell always having his back. We've already talked about how Aaron Glenn has been grooming him for this position, having him run meetings, having him run different things, call plays in the defense last year. And he is so well insulated with these guys around him, like you said, with Jim O'Neil, with Casey Rogers, with guys that have this defensive coordinator experience in the past. So having a first-time defensive coordinator in Calvin Shepard, who has been referred to by multiple people as the smartest guy in the room type of situation, including Steve Spagnuolo, this guy has all of the tools around him when it comes to minds to pick, brains to look at, people to bounce ideas off of, to make sure he's putting himself in the best situations possible going forward as the defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. So I am extremely confident in Calvin Shepard as the Detroit Lions defensive coordinator. I think Calvin Shepard will be the guy to take this defense to the next level because he is a young, innovative mind who has come from a family of fantastic defensive minds, and the pieces around him, these guys around him, are going to help him. Hey, this is what I did wrong. Hey, when I was the defensive coordinator in San Francisco, here's where I went wrong. Hey, when I was the defensive coordinator for the New York Jets, here's what I went wrong. Hey, when I was behind Todd Bowles for basically my whole career, one of the best defensive minds in football, here's what he did. Here's what he liked. Here's what this. So he's got a lot of guys that he can bounce ideas off of, and that helps anyone in any line of work, especially when you're getting into it for the first time.
Even just like the certain, like I was listening to Brad Holmes last night as well. Did a great piece, Black History Month piece, and just him just talking about his upcoming from a car rental person to PR with a basketball team, then football, then obviously become the general manager. But when you become that general manager, you're doing things different for the first time. You are in interviews with the first like top 30 team visits with these players. Like there are new experiences you have with these upgrades that he's going to have. And now you have Casey Rogers who's been there before. You have a Jim McNeil who's been there before. You also have a previous relationship with Jim McNeil.
Yeah.
Same situation too with Shea Townsend. I don't know, man. I think it's dope. I'm not concerned at all whatsoever.
No, he is more than competent. He's more than capable, Kelvin Shepherd, in taking over this defense and having them perform at a high level. He knows what he wants. Mm-hmm. These guys on this team know what he wants out of them. They know how he coaches. They respect him. He talked in that interview with Dan Miller from Fox 2 about how his first coaching job for the Lions, Dan Campbell had him coaching the outside linebackers, and he was coaching Romeo Okwara, a guy he's played with before. He was coaching Trey Flowers, a guy that is on a $100 million contract at a position that he is not familiar with. So he has been outside of his comfort zone before and has always made it work, always had to perform at a high level.
Yeah.
So shout out to him. And like you said, with Jim McNeil, with Casey Rogers, those guys are going to help him so much round what he wants to be as defensive coordinator. The seeds that Aaron Glenn planted in him will be cultivated by the leadership he has around him in these circles. Yep. And Dan Campbell puts the best guys in the best scenarios to have the most success. And if you're not doing it right, he's going to get you out of there. There's a reason why these guys on this staff have stayed. There's a reason why these guys on this staff have pushed through.
Because they're here and other guys aren't.
Exactly. We've seen him do it before. Aubrey Pleasant, great friend, great dude, see you later. Anthony Lynn, great friend, great dude, see you later. Mm-hmm. He has promoted from within the guys that deserved it, and Kelvin Shepherd is at the top of that list.
Shout out to Dan Campbell for just being the way he is. We talked about it last year. I think at the presser, we said he's coaching the coaches.
Yep.
Calvin Shepherd's a result of that. And shout out to AG for being willing to do that too. He spoke to that, was thankful for that in that interview as well. I know we're a little bit over, Chris, but I want to get yours and Nick's opinions on this real quick too.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that stands out to me is he talked about those other players in the defense. And the guys that put those players there is a guy in Brad Holmes. He drafted a lot of these players, 3 first-round picks come to my brain immediately, 2 second-round picks, 2 third-round picks. He used a lot of draft capital to give Kelvin Shepherd these chess pieces when healthy. Can he land the checkmate? Can he put these guys in the right position to get to the quarterback, to cause these turnovers? I think when fully healthy, he's going to be able to.
Yeah.
It's just these guys got to get back to full health, and obviously full off season to do so. So.
Yeah, he talked a little bit about that. I think I grabbed that one. I guess that's the text I sent when I was like, how many Kelvin Shepherds is too much, guys? I was trying to get the governor from you guys. So I might send that. We'll go over that too. But Chris, what's your reaction to it?
I go back to what Dan Campbell said during the introductory part of this offseason. And he said, he was very well aware that he was possibly losing both coordinators and that he knows the style of play that we are going to play as Lions. And so he is looking more within than outside. But the synergy is there. So that's why I have complete confidence in this, is because they're not changing who they are. They're not coming in and saying, okay, we need something new. What we had wasn't working. You went 15-2 last year with all the injuries, with all the adversity. You have something that's working, and you have people that have been here from the grassroots. So I think, if I'm being honest with you, I have way more confidence right now in the defensive side of the ball than the offensive side of the ball in terms of there not being a drop-off. I really believe that the defensive side of the ball, this was a perfect hire. This was exactly what we wanted. As much as we wanted Rob Salah and all these other talented minds, I think this was ultimately the perfect decision. I don't even have room to debate it, really. I don't think even if you bring in Salah, you get the same impact that you're going to get with Calvin. I really don't.
But you're still yapping. No, I'm just kidding.
How dare you try to pull the Big Bob?
What?
You was the one gave us sucking my